welcome back to the Code Apes podcast. I'm your host, Victor, and this is my co-hominid, Cop. How you doing? And
Good.
I've here ridden your dog.
We're not Australian.
No? Oh yeah, true. Sometimes I forget. I mean, we get lumped together.
Yeah. We don't call people dog in every second sentence.
But yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. I've been tired. I've been busy. Last week of assignments basically for my last year of uni. So this will be moving on to the next step in my life, hopefully.
Yeah, full-time magic when you graduate,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Full-time pro magic in New Zealand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no, it doesn't matter where you are now. We have arena.
True.
So,
Oh, there we go. 100% arena grind.
yeah. I am almost mythic.
Ooh.
I am almost mythic now.
I have yet to hit it, but at some point I'll dedicate my life to it or something.
I remember I hit it once, and I played in the top 1200 event or whatever it was.
Nice.
It started at 3 a.m. I was very tired, very groggy. Woke up, sat down, went 03 and went back to bed. So
At least you got to sleep.
yeah, at least I got some sleep. That was good.
Honestly, it's a win-win with those events, because if you scrub out, you get the sweet release, and if not, then I guess you get the win.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it works out better next time it happens.
I'll better get grinding.
Yeah, true. But what about you? How have you been?
Oh yeah, doing pretty well. Finished work for the day. Pretty happy to be out here recording, and excited that we're on our 8th episode. I don't know. This podcast is fun, man. It's cool to be here. Cool to be meeting up every week.
Moving ever so closer to double digits.
Yeah. There we go. It's gonna be big.
Yeah. The big.
We don't know what's gonna be big, but it's gonna be big.
The big 10th episode is coming up quick.
Yeah. The 1-0.
Yeah, the big 1-0.
But yeah, aside from that, I guess what's a highlight from the week past?
Oh, last week was a bit slow with sport, but this week's been a lot better. It's been a lot better. Got to see Manchester United get humiliated by Liverpool. That was very satisfying.
Right.
It was really funny. Ronaldo tried to start a fight with someone, and then one of the Liverpool defenders came up to him, who's 6'7", and Ronaldo just kind of walked away. He was very scared. It was.
I mean, yeah,
it was really funny. It was really funny to watch. But yeah, other than that, the All Blacks are back playing, and they're on tour at the moment. They were playing in the States. They've only played the US, I think, 4 or 5 times. And
did they only play Gridiron over there?
I thought so. No, but apparently the States are trying to push for, I think it's 2029 World Cup.
Oh,
Rugby?
really? Interesting.
Yeah, so they're trying to promote rugby in the States a lot.
Right.
And that's why the All Blacks went over there to get one of the most exciting rugby teams
Yeah.
to go over there. We thrashed them. But it is the first time the States have ever scored a try against the All Blacks. So big milestone for them. So at least they got something away. They get something.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. But yeah.
That's interesting, actually. A bit of sports unification incoming, potentially.
Yeah. No, it should be exciting to see. But no, they'll be touring around Europe as well, which should be interesting. I think they're playing against France, Italy, Ireland, and Wales, I think it was.
Right, okay.
Yeah, over the next few weeks, so that'll be cool to see how they do. Hopefully they can reclaim number 1 in the world after losing to South Africa. Man, it's so salty. It's so salty about that. So mad.
You gotta lose every now and then just to keep the fans on the edge, you know?
Yeah. The All Blacks have one of the highest win rates of any international sports team.
I'm not surprised, actually.
Yeah. It's insane. Their win percentage is 80%.
Wait, that's bannably good.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. But yeah, that's been my highlight. A lot of sport. It's been good.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, from my end, I've been brewing around with some magic. So I've been playing a bit more Magic Online in the week past, and got back to my old Abzan mid-range pile and piles, and been messing around with sideboard plans, alternative color combinations. So I'm currently in the process of trying to put together some lists for a what's it called? A Mardu version of that mid-range deck. Playing Chandra Torture Defiance in the 4-drop Planeswalker slot, and otherwise kind of wanting to try a going blue for the color accompanying black and white. So that'd be Esper, and messing around with some of those ideas. So no idea if anything's going to come out of it, but yeah, that also a little bit of smallpox sort of brainstorming. So yeah, just thinking about what to play next in modern, and seeing if I can come up with some spicy tech.
I didn't know about this. You didn't tell me this.
No, yeah, I've kind of just been doing it like randomly in the last couple of days.
No. Yeah.
But the reason I haven't said anything yet is because I haven't come up with any lists yet that I feel like comfortable enough to share. But I've definitely been enjoying just like looking at cards again and trying to put together something interesting.
You know, with Mardu, you can play Lingering Souls with Young Pyromancer.
Ooh.
Then you can play Faithless Looting.
Mate, that was once a deck. Rip.
Oh, that deck was so cool.
It was so cool.
It was like the only fair Faithless Looting deck, and it was like one of the coolest decks in the format.
It was actually awesome. I don't think anyone hated that deck. It was such a chill, cool deck.
Yeah.
It just did nice things.
Exactly.
Like Thoughtseize you on turn 1.
Yeah. That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Resembles fair magic.
Exactly. But yeah, so been enjoying that quite a bit. But yeah, we got some results as well from the last weekend, and yeah, just the last few days to talk about. Do you want to take us through the Saturday challenge?
Oh, I guess I shouldn't I? Since I've written down some notes. Yeah, the Saturday challenge was really interesting. I got to watch a little bit of it. I was watching Aspiring Spike play Sunday morning, I think it was for me.
Oh, cool! So you got to witness part of the challenge.
Yeah. I got to watch his top 8.
Right.
He's never won a challenge before.
Oh, really?
Which is interesting. This is one of the things he hasn't won yet, and
Right.
he took it down. He won.
Oh, damn!
He won
Congrats.
with Esper Reanimator, something that he's been building and tuning for a while, with a twist, putting in the Grief Ephemerate synergy along with Solitude.
Yeah, but I was hoping he was going to be playing the smallpox variant.
Nah, unfortunately
Not this time?
No.
Still, this is cool. This is neat.
This is really cool, yeah. So all that hype about Grief at the beginning with Ephemerate, he's kind of figured something out here, because Ephemerate also works quite well with Archon. Obviously works really well with Solitude and Mulldrifter.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he's playing 3 copies of Mulldrifter, which is, man, so good. When Mulldrifter's a good card in Modern, it's got to be a good format.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's really fun to see him pilot this deck, and I played it probably maybe like 10 games or so with the deck over the past few days, and it's quite hard to play.
Yeah, I imagine, actually. Yeah, you were saying.
there's a lot of synergies and a lot of moving pieces. It's quite tough to pilot. So kudos to him for taking down the event with it. But other than that, we had 2 other streamers in the top 4. We had Doomwake, who's been tuning Yuri on Footfalls for quite some time now.
Right.
And he actually lost in the finals to Spike. And basically the deck is just combining the old Elementals deck with Footfalls, just mashing the 2 together and putting it into Yorion deck, and it seems to be pretty good. So
yeah, we've seen a few pretty solid Yurion piles in the past few weeks, and this seems like one way to take it that could be pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely. And Canister was also in the top 4 as well. He was playing 4-color Ephemerate, which he's been playing for a while now. kind of tuning that as well. So these have all been like fairly tuned decks that have been being piloted by the streamers.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Actually, I should have watched some of it.
Yeah. No, it's good. How many Solitudes is that? How many?
I mean, they were all playing it, right, as a playset?
Yeah. 16 copies in the top 8. There was another 4-color Ephemerate player as well who barely missed out on top 4. He lost in the quarterfinals. But other than that, we had Hammer Time, which was mono white. I just seen a typo on my notes. It says Lupus instead of Lurrus.
It autocorrects the Lupus every single time.
Yeah. But yeah, no Lurrus in the Hammer Time deck, which is interesting.
What? Playing the sword instead, is it?
Why are you taking my notes?
Sorry, I got excited.
Yeah.
I like it when I see no Lurrus, I get a bit hyper.
Yeah. Playing Sword of Sinew and Steel, which I need to bring up because I've forgotten what that one does. Is it the Pro Black and Red one?
Yeah, Pro Black and Red. I think it returns a creature from your graveyard to hand or something like that.
No, that's the white one does that.
Is it? Okay, never mind.
This one destroys up to 1 Planeswalker and up to 1 artifact when it hits. So,
okay. Never mind.
I'm not too sure what that is in there for. Pro Black and Pro Red. Interesting. I'm not too sure.
Blocks Ragavans.
True, it does, yes.
I guess maybe against the Fury decks?
Maybe? I don't play artifacts, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like you need to get some utilization out of that second, like when it connects, for this to be good. I don't know. But they're also playing Sword of War and Peace, which we have not seen in a very long time. So basically just replacing Lurrus with these swords. Because other than that, there's no other 3-drops. There's one Nettle Cyst in the main deck. And a Sword of Fire and Ice.
Nettle Cyst is actually sweet. I really like that card.
I feel like Nettle Cyst is quite underrated.
Yeah.
It's such a...
When Lurrus eventually gets banned, it'll be 4-ofs.
Such a beefy threat. Yeah. No, Nettle Cyst is one of those cards that is yet to find like a proper home. But that's basically because of Lurrus.
Yeah.
Other than that, we had Yawgmoth, Black-Green Yawgmoth, which was basically stock list, except moving away from the full set of Dross Messenger, which you said has been a popular thing recently.
Yeah, I was watching a few streamers play the Yawgmoth deck in the past, and they were saying that or at least one of them mentioned that he really liked the 4 of Dross Messenger because it gave you a very solid aggro plan where the life loss and the solid bodies sort of added up quite quickly when they were locking out the combos. So they seem to say that it was generally worth it to just play all of them. But it's interesting to see that they're going for a more versatile kind of... yeah.
It's a toolboxy. More toolboxy rather than aggro.
Exactly.
Yeah, which I'm not too sure what I like more. I feel like playing 4 is good. Because you do just have that... You can just jank people out with an aggressive game plan.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like that.
But I would rather it be a toolbox deck because I feel like that's more fun.
Yeah, that's true. It is still a toolboxy deck.
True.
But just slightly less. But yeah, that's kind of stock, and that was from Demonic Tutors, which has been top-8ing a ton of challenges, like, in the past few weeks. With Yorg. He's been
right.
He's been really consistent. It's been good to see. We had stock Footfalls, Team of Footfalls, just the usual, and we had Affinity in the top 8. Another appearance for Affinity, which actually plays Affinity cards, which is cool.
It is nice that after all this time, Modern Affinity has reclaimed its rightful name. Or it's always had its name, but it's now earning it.
Yes, yeah. It's weird to see artifact decks without Ravager though, like because we spent so many years with
losing to Ravagers,
losing to Arkbound Ravager in Modern.
Oh yeah.
And now we lose to other things, not just Ravager. Yeah,
it sounds very similar. If you rearrange the letters a little bit, throw in a couple of extra letters, Ragavan.
Yes. I don't know what to say to that.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. What does your tournament look like?
Yep. So this one, the one I'm talking about today, is a PTQ. I guess I just want to mention as well, there were a couple of other events. There was some League 5.0 results posted on the Reddit page, and a Sunday challenge as well. But since there was a PTQ, I figured I might as well cover it. And in this PTQ, oh yeah, and the other events. Honestly, since there were so many events, we figured we'll probably just cover like one event each. It'll be make sure that the section doesn't get too out of hand. But if you want to check out that info, it's all out there on the Modern Magic Reddit page. So there's tons of info out there, thanks to Bamzing and Albraf Pastel doing their work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so top of the PTQ was a 4-color ephemerate Yorion lists by Hodor Time Baby. Which I believe is a I was gonna say Stranger Thrones, man. The Zero fans would have my throat for that. Game of Thrones reference, but I haven't actually watched enough Game of Thrones to have seen it, but I've heard of it anyway.
Are you sure it's not Ho Dortum Ever By?
No, you know what? I think it could be that.
Yeah.
That's probably more likely.
I think so.
But anyways, congrats for winning the PTQ. And yeah, the deck was pretty sweet. Honestly, I don't know what to call these 4-color ephemerate lists anymore. Whether they're stock or like kind of brewy anymore, because they play quite a wide range of cards, seeing as they're 4 colors and kind of just play like good value spells. But I did want to mention that this one was playing 4 copies of Eternal Witness, which that's a lot of value over the course of the game.
I don't think Eward is stock.
Yeah, I figured that one was probably something that stuck out a bit. But yeah, otherwise just a bunch of the good 4-color stuff that we've seen quite a bit of. And further down we had 3 Black-White Hammer lists, all running Lurrus, and all fairly stock. But there was an interesting card that I sort of noticed in the sideboard of a couple of the lists, and that was Knight of Malice, which I should probably cover for those less familiar. It's 1 and a black for a human knight that's a 2/2. It has first strike, protection. Oh no, not protection actually. It's got hexproof from white, because from the recent Dominaria set, and it gets +1/+0 as long as any color, as long as any player controls a white permanent.
So that's interesting, because I don't think it was last week, but the week before, someone, it might be the same person, I don't know, was playing Knight of Infamy?
Which is the protection one, eh?
It's the protection one, yeah.
And I heard about that, actually. I think what happened is the protection one, someone on social media, a streamer on social media, whose name I don't remember, noticed that you can't equip stuff off Sagada's Aid onto a creature that has protection from white.
well, that internet personality was me. I mentioned that.
Oh,
right. I mentioned that in the podcast.
Wait, what? Did you?
Yes.
Oh my god, my memory. Oh, there we go. Well, we figured it out.
Because
you are a pretty big internet personality, so.
Yeah, aspiring internet personality. But yeah, the person who was piloting that deck misplayed with it in the tournament. And I think it was Bamzing who had the notes said that they misplayed with it like twice or something. So I got it
right,
from there.
now I remember, actually. Now I remember what was going on there, yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting to see Knight of Malice showing up as tech for the same reason, but without that downside.
Pro Solitude.
Yeah, and Prismatic Ending, right? I guess ending they can
Yes.
still hit the equipment, but you keep your creature around, which is pretty relevant. Yeah, tons of, all the removals shifted to white now, which is interesting. Potentially more on that later. But yeah, aside from that, 2 blue-white control Kahira lists also looked pretty stock, but one of them had a Blossoming Calm in the sideboard. Well, 2 actually. 2 Blossoming Calms in the sideboard, and I forgot that was even a card. So I guess just to refresh what that does, it's 1 white mana, instant you gain hexproof until your next turn. You gain 2 life, and it has rebound. So that's kind of interesting. I guess it counters a Thoughtseize or whatever. Gains you some life against the aggressive decks. Counters a Bolt.
Yeah, well, this is primarily against burn.
Yeah.
I don't think you're bringing this in against Thoughtseize.
I mean, would you not? I guess
no,
you might not.
No, I don't think so. Because that's the only thing it's good against.
True, and it doesn't even really.
The 2 life doesn't matter.
It's not like it replaces itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because I remember some people being slightly hyped about that when it came out, and then everyone forgot about it. But yeah, then Jeskai Control, which was a Yorion deck as well. Of note here is that this deck is not playing Ephemerate, but it is playing 4 Snapcasters, 4 Solitudes, and 4 Wall of Omens, along with some other good blink targets for Yorion. So, again, the Yorion is actually having a pretty strong showing, alongside Lurrus and Kahira, I guess, just the companions as a whole. Which, yeah, to close off a Jeskai Murktide list with no companion, the exception to the rule.
No way.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that wasn't legal.
No, yeah, I thought they banned non-companion decks, but apparently that's still a thing. The list looks pretty sweet. It's I'm not actually sure exactly what stock Murktide is, but it looks like it would be something like this because I was playing a very focused set of just good blue and red cards, and as you were saying, the prismatic endings continuing to make a strong showing.
Yeah, a lot of white decks.
Oh yeah.
A lot of white decks.
And I have here in the notes, such companion, much wow.
There weren't many companions in mine, in the one I covered. There was, I guess, 3. There was 3 Yorion decks.
Only Yorions, yeah, that's interesting actually.
Yeah.
And here we've got a smattering of, Yorions, Lurrus, Kahira.
Still no Lutri, eh?
Nah, somebody's got to figure it out.
Not even a Karuga.
I forgot that was even a card as well. I'm surprised we haven't seen too many. What's the non-Karuga one that you can play odds?
Oh, big Leviathan thing.
Obosh.
Oh, Obosh.
Yeah.
I was thinking the opposite one.
Oh yeah.
What's that one even called? Because that was
I can't
deck.
remember.
That
Yeah,
was a deck.
the Reanimator 6-drop thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of interested that in the end those aren't seeing that much play, because I thought especially Obosh seemed like it had some potential to stick around.
I think it just got outpowered by MH2.
Right.
Like a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't actually do the math, but I did consider at one point trying to get all this data and chucking it into some sort of, I don't know, code to figure out what the percentage of MH2 cards were in all the lists, and seeing like, I reckon there's got to be a correlation, right, between like your a pretty strong correlation between the sheer number of MH2 cards and like your placing.
Maybe. Hammer Time doesn't have that
know.
many MH2 cards, right?
Right. I mean, all these lists are playing, quite a lot of pretty, like there's
I guess there's Saga.
There's sagas. In the Murktide list, there's the old
Monkey.
2 damage burn spell that actually deals 6. Heat, something heat. Can't remember.
Unholy Heat.
Unholy Heat. That's the one. And then
Monkey.
obviously Solitudes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Is that something that you like about Modern? Like, what do you think about do you like that Modern is run by the Modern Horizon sets?
I actually don't, and I think it's interesting that you asked me that, because I kind of had that thought. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it up or not. I've been loving Modern, and overall, I think the format's like not in a bad place by any means. And as we say, like tons of diversity still. People will keep brewing up new decks, and so things are looking pretty good. But I've got to say, it does feel like it's by displacing a lot of its long time sort of solid decks to sort of the lower tiers of the format, it does feel like it's shed off a lot of its history. And I think that is a little bit of a shame. But
because what decks have survived? Like, from
Jund somehow, kind of.
Jund always survives somehow. It gets kicked in the balls so many times, and it's still standing.
Although, I mean, is it really Jund though?
Yeah, Boomer Jund is still a thing.
I guess so. That's true.
Like, I don't think it's unreasonable in this meta.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but like prior to MH2, what decks then see play now?
I guess Blue White Control technically, and Jeskai saw some amount of play. Burn is continuing to put up a showing. Tron occasionally shows up. We still see Titan lists, so I guess it's not too bad. But it definitely feels like a lot of decks have been displaced. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it is still very dominant. MH2 dominant, I should say.
Yeah, and a lot of the lists that have stuck around are drastically different.
Yeah, but it's not. I guess it's not a bad thing. I don't like it that much, even though the format is like really good at the moment.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's something wrong. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I should probably just accept that it's a good format, and we're just living in an MH2 format.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a sentiment that has been echoed by other people online as well. I guess it does feel weird because just a lot of these cards don't really have a history. Whereas when you sit down and you play against like as we were saying an Arcbound Ravager versus like I don't know a Primeval Titan or something like you've got a pretty long history behind you.
Oh yeah.
Of those kind of matchups, but yeah, I mean it's just something to get used to as we were saying, and hopefully things don't end up into the future being so MH2 focused that it feels like the format is just kind of a one set format. But I think it's not that bad. Like as you were saying, they're not all MH2 cards, all these lists, and there's quite a lot of variation between them still. So
I guess Wizards succeeded in shaking out the modern format.
yeah.
So I don't know. It is still in a good place.
And as we were saying, like we've mostly been enjoying it. The gameplay is good.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So I guess overall positive, but definitely an interesting point to make.
Yeah. But with the focus on all of these Modern Horizons 2 cards comes a lot of demand.
Yes.
And I don't know, there wasn't, I guess during the pandemic, there wasn't too much supply of these cards, right? I feel.
Well, when Modern Horizons 2 came out, I think quite a lot of the world was still in lockdowns, right?
Yeah.
And for us, we were lucky in New Zealand to have the ability to go and play those pre-releases in person. But even then, somewhat soon after, we entered lockdowns, and that may still have affected supply in some way, shape, or form. But even then, the fact that it's just one set that had more expensive boosters and potentially slightly less accessible to the Magic community because of that, does mean that the price of these cards are not cheap.
Yes. The segue, it worked.
It worked.
But yeah,
Nice.
But this is mostly referring to Solitude.
Solitude, Ragavan. I think we can include Modern Horizons 1 in this because Renin 6 is pretty intense as well. And to some extent, Force of Negation.
Yeah. Well, Force is more expensive than no, it's not more expensive than Ren, but it's more expensive than like Solitude.
Right.
But over the past few days, Solitude has been extremely popular. Like
Yeah, what I've noticed while I was trying to play my jank Abzan mid-range deck is that the deck to rent used to be in the sort of 200 to 300 ticks range, and just pretty much off Solitude alone is now over 500 ticks. So that's pretty wild.
yeah, they went from being about a $25, $30 card online to it hit 90 at one point. I think it's back down to about 70.
Right.
But 90 is so much, especially for digital cards.
Yeah, and it means that it's quite hard to rent the decks unless you go for the like really top end loan programs. Uh, at least for our current loan programs, we're kind of struggling to be able to rent some of the topest decks.
Even with our rental limits combined, which is about 900, the Urion decks are still out of that range.
True.
So it can be pretty tough to rent. Just well, not, let alone not renting. It's just buying cards online. Because not everyone
Right.
uses rental services. I feel
That's
like
true as
a
well.
lot of people come around to using them because they're just the greatest thing that's happened to Magic Online.
Yeah,
But the prices are still just going up.
for sure. And if you actually just want to own them because you know you're going to play the deck for a while, it's pretty rough to have to slam down like 200, 300 ticks to just get your place at a Solitude.
Yeah, it can be very hard for the average person to maintain a paper collection and a digital collection.
Yeah, and that also goes a little bit in hand with what we were saying before about the shakeups of modern. Is it probably is making modern a little bit harder to access, especially for people that don't necessarily have like massive amounts of disposable income. It does put it in a bit of a pinch.
Yeah, Modern has always been one of those formats, with the exception of some weeks or months where like Hogak and Oko are illegal. But you can play your pet deck and it will be fine.
Yeah,
It's a bit harder now with the power creep of the Modern Horizon sets.
yeah, I
Because
think I'd agree with that to some extent. There's definitely you can still play Jank and do decently with Jank, but you have to be ready for people blinking solitudes and exiling your board and um, Fury getting many for ones, Regavance getting the front foot off on turn one.
yeah, that's one of the good things about Modern is there's almost always an answer to any
Yeah,
deck.
and I think that still is true, right? Like that, I still
Yeah,
feel like
that's
it's
still
pretty
true. That is still
feasible to
true
rent
now.
decks.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a new time in modern, a new era.
Mate, we're boomers. We're not used to this shake up of our beloved format.
On the plus side, it's not Hogak. We didn't really have any Hogaks coming out of this, so that was good.
Jeez, yeah.
Because boy, that was not a fun time in modern.
Murktide Region's kind of like a safe Hogak.
It is, but at least it's safe.
Yeah, yeah. But even then, 2 mana, 7/7 flying or whatever it is.
That's true. I mean, it doesn't have trample, so I can just chump with Lingering Souls forever.
That's true. Yeah. Teemo Battle Rage.
No, not again.
You've probably been got by that a few times.
I have, but since Shadow hasn't been seeing as much play lately, it's been a while since I've been Team
Yeah.
of Outraged out of the game.
Even yeah. Well, that's another deck actually that completely
True.
died off.
It
Is
was huge. It was one of the biggest decks, sort of just before Modern Horizons rolling around.
well, 2 or 3 years ago, people were calling for Shadow bans. Like,
Which is crazy to think now, yeah.
yeah, which is crazy now. But with the popularity of Solitude nowadays, this Shadow, there's no way. It'll be really tough to play a Shadow deck in a Solitude format.
Totally, yeah. Although I think still seen some lists floating around, so it's not like the deck is totally unplayable. I guess you just gotta get somewhat lucky with the matchups and maybe have some good sideboard plans.
Yeah, you need a plan for Solitude.
But yeah, I mean overall, I still feel pretty positive about modern. But it is a conversation worth having, I think.
I feel like something needs to happen about the prices.
Mm. Yeah, actually, what would you reckon can be done about the prices? Because
You just
it's
need
probably pretty difficult to bring them down. What's that?
you just need to reprint. Just keep reprinting stuff. It's like staples, like fetch lands.
Yeah,
'Cause-
but we can't have like solitude and stuff like that in standard. So I guess do you
Well,
reckon just like chuck him in all the commander products? Like
You could do. Yeah, there
that's
is.
probably not a bad idea. It would mean that the commander products would probably sell even
Yeah.
more. Well, although they don't seem to be having a problem with that. But
There there is a double Masters 2 coming out next year.
oh yeah,
So hopefully they take that opportunity to reprint some of the staples.
that would be amazing.
I-
Just chuck in literally take the like 5 most expensive cards from both of the Horizon sets, and just chuck them in.
And the fetch lands, the Khan's fetch lands
And
as
the fetch
well.
lands. Yeah. Got to keep them fetch land prices low.
Polluted Deltas used to be like what, $15 or something. They're like $60 now.
It's been a while since they were 15, but yeah, back in Khans maybe.
Well, okay, yeah, but for a few years, they were hovering around maybe $25 or something.
Right. So, yeah, they've been affordable for some time at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I do like the idea of more reprints. I think hopefully, surely Wizards is keeping an eye on that, right? They've got to.
Oh, surely.
Know that it's an issue, yeah.
Yeah. They can't just turn a blind eye for that. Like,
I feel like that they technically could, but I'm hoping that with the attention that Modern's been getting in terms of the Modern Horizon set and them specifically printing product for it, I'm hoping that they're financially interested or financially invested enough in the format that they want to keep it healthy.
I think they are.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think Modern is like one of the top formats of Magic, and it has been for a long time.
Has a big following for sure. I mean, Commander probably eclipses everything in Magic now, though, right?
Yeah. That's because there's just a lot more casual players.
Yeah. But still, I guess there's a good amount of Modern players, and tournaments. The tournament scene in Magic, I think, is something that's pretty unique to it in terms of what it offers. So hopefully the ability to play Modern competitively is something that Wizards decides to keep around as a distinguishing point.
Yeah, I think they will. Well, this weekend actually is SCG-Con, and there is a Modern tournament there. So this will be the first like major event in paper post-COVID.
Are they going to have coverage for it? Do you know?
No, there's no coverage.
Oh, dang. But I guess there'll probably be people sort of doing their own coverage, reporting the results.
Yeah.
On social media and stuff. So I'll try to keep an eye out for that because that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely. It will be really cool to see. I wish there was coverage, though. That would have been so cool.
That'd be amazing. I would have watched it. I would have actually tuned in.
That would have been so cool to see you come back. Maybe next year.
2-3 a.m.
Yeah. Maybe not at that time.
But yeah. Aside from that, we did actually get some other news this week, which is that we got the teasers for Crimson Vow, Innistrad Crimson Vow, the next Innistrad set that's coming out in I think only a couple of weeks' time, right? The release is actually coming up super soon. I think
preview season starts next week, I think.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, Maro posted some of those teasers that he likes to do, which I kind of am keen to have a look through and take some pot shots at what they could mean.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, go on.
Oh yeah. Some of the stuff that he says we can expect. I guess I'll just read through the list. It's a pretty long list, but we can just have a look at some of the stuff on here.
Don't need to read all of them.
True.
Some exciting ones.
I am kind of interested in these types of counters that I mentioned. A Bloodline counter, Croak counter, Invitation counter, Judgment counter, Omen counter, Slime counter, and Suspect counter.
What could they mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess always used for flavor purposes and stuff. But Croak counter, surely turn to frog that like you can like move the counters around. I don't know. You can probably do some shenanigans in casual with that, like in Commander.
That could be interesting.
Pretty fun.
Invitation
Judgment counter. What's that?
Invitation counter. That's a weird one.
Yeah, no idea what that would be used for.
Strange.
Bloodline counter. Surely it's the new. What's it called? The new Bitter Blossom. Creates like vampire tokens. Right.
Nah.
Nah.
Nah. I honestly have no idea what these will be used for.
No, yeah. I mean, we really can't know from the names, but it is kind of cool to see a little bit of a glimpse of what they'll have in the set.
It's a bit like in Ikoria where they had the keyword counters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which were very interesting. I never played with those in paper. Oh no, we did. I think we did pre-release of Ikoria, didn't we?
We did, yeah, no, we did
So
actually.
we did play with the keyword counters in paper, yeah.
They had the little punch-out cards, right? That you could,
Yeah, yeah, they
yeah,
did.
that was cool. I actually quite liked that change. It was neat.
It was cool, yeah.
Um, there's a new mechanic that removes something never removed before.
This is a big one. This is an interesting one. So I feel like the most common answer to this is emblems because they
It could be.
huh
That was my first impression. As soon as I read that, I was like, "Oh no, we're getting a way to interact with emblems, aren't we?"
yeah, which I don't know. It'd be really funny if it wasn't that because that's
I hope it's not. Yeah.
I kind of hope it's not as well because that is the most obvious answer.
Yeah, and also emblems. That's kind of what makes them special. Is that there isn't the way to remove them at the moment. I feel like if you make them removable just by any other card, then I feel like it just becomes uh like any other permanent type.
But what else could it possibly be? Poison counters
We have ways to remove those.
from players?
I think so. I can't name one, but I'm almost certain there's a way to do that.
Oh, there is. There is a card that was recently printed. I can't remember what it is, but it removes a counter from a permanent or player.
There we go.
Yeah. So not that.
But I guess yeah. What else could it be? Because we can already remove every permanent type pretty easily. But
Uh,
remove something from exile.
no, there's that white card.
No, that brings it back from exile. I'm talking like removed from the
Oh,
game
a
zone.
second exile. It puts it into the sideboard.
I mean that we haven't had before.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so cool. Put a card into your sideboard and then like wish for it. That's a roundabout way to tutor, but that would be pretty funny.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. No
remove
idea.
sideboard. Target
Oh, wow.
player removes their sideboard from the game.
I mean that would be kind of OP.
It would be, yeah.
But it'd be pretty funny if it was like the crazy payoff for some crazy like I don't know the new Emrakul or whatever.
Yeah. But,
I mean, it actually could be like you look at their outside the game zone and you pick a card from it and remove it or something, like or move it to your outside the game zone or something like that. That could potentially be a mechanic that hasn't been explored yet.
search target opponent's sideboard for a card and put it into your hand.
Like that would be interesting. That would actually be interesting.
Yeah, and then you could have the whole Oblivion Sower fetch land thing. You can like steal people's cards
Oh,
because that was a thing.
yeah.
Yeah, one of Magic's many scandals.
There's been a few.
Yeah. But what else do we have on this list? What else is interesting here?
I'm taking a look through. Feel free to shout if there's any that you see that you want to talk about.
Mirror of an already existing mechanic.
What's that?
A new mechanic. Which is a mirror of an already existing mechanic.
Is it? I'm thinking something like. Well, actually, we've already had that. I was gonna say prowess, but different. But we literally just had that in Strixhaven.
Burrow. It's the opposite of flying.
It can't be blocked except by creatures with burrow.
Actually, yeah, it's too much
Nice.
like Shadow. Nah.
Oh,
No.
yeah, we can't have horsemanship in standard.
Ah, yeah, true.
Man, I would actually love if they brought back horsemanship.
Nah.
Just
Uh,
on a couple of cards. Like, they can't put it on too many cards, but like one card.
Well, that makes it even worse. Because then it may as well just say unblockable.
Yeah, but it interacts with all the other horsemanship. Okay, yeah, it's
No. Yes, all of those commonly played horsemanship synergies.
Yeah. Comes up all the time.
Yep. What else? What else is there?
Well, it says a powerful and popular creature card from an Innistrad set gets reprinted.
Snapcaster Mage.
It's the words on everyone's lips, mine included.
I would love that so much, but I wouldn't.
I think it'd be good because it'd be cool, but at the same time, it wouldn't be good for the standard meta, right? Like flashing back epiphanies.
We can't because Epiphany exiles itself.
Oh, it does. Okay, it's safe. Printed in standard. Let's go.
You could play it, mate. You could have a pretty sick blue tempo deck with Snapcaster and like Fading Hope.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
That would be pretty cool. I think it would just make control decks way too powerful though.
Honestly, I would have guessed Delver of Secrets if it hadn't already been reprinted, but...
Delver of Secrets V2, they did it with Colossal Dreadmore.
Did they?
Yeah, Colossal Dreadmore was in both Ikoria sets. Not Ikoria, Ixalan.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's not that, because that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch the space, I suppose. Actually, you know what it could be? I could totally see it being one of, like, Grizzlebrand or whatever the one of the big angels, like Everson sort of thing.
Nah, I don't think.
No, actually, Everson's dead. She can't be here.
I don't think it can be Grizzlebrand.
Why not?
Because Faithful Mending is a card. I think it would be too powerful.
I feel like I don't know if the reanimator is good enough in standard, but I guess you probably wouldn't want to risk it.
But if it worked,
yeah.
Like if there was a way,
it's not a great play pattern.
No, I think if there was a way to reanimate it would be a good deck. And there are reanimation spells in the format. There's that Foretell one, right?
There is, yeah. There's a couple actually. There's a couple.
Yeah, there's a few.
Technically, Emrakul is an Innistrad card now.
Is it?
Yeah, it was. It's trapped in the moon, and there's the whole like 13 mana one that gets cheaper with your graveyard. That was from an Innistrad set, right? That was from Eldritch Moon or something.
Oh yeah, it was an Eldritch Moon. Yeah.
So technically, we could have Emrakul.
Emrakul just breaks out, but that wasn't. Did it specify Innistrad set?
It says a popular and powerful creature card from an Innistrad set.
Well, Emrakul wasn't really from an Innistrad set, though.
True. I guess I was thinking he could be kind of trying to trick us, but probably not.
Yeah, bamboozled.
Yeah. Anything else that catches your eye on this list?
Not really. Nah. Not too much else.
The tokens I find kind of interesting, which is a new artifact token along the lines of clue, food, and treasure.
Oh yeah, we did discuss this.
Yeah. And the reason it sort of caught my eye is because I've actually really liked how clues, food, and treasures have played. I felt like since they've been added to Magic, aside from, there's a couple of obvious mistakes. Oko, get out of here. But for the most part, I think they've actually been pretty cool as resources. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Just game objects in general, when you can interact with them, there's some cool play patterns that can occur.
And I feel like they have really good flavor as well. When they tie them into the cards, it usually makes a lot of sense and it really adds to the flavor of a card. So I'm pretty excited to see what this would be. And we were kind of talking about it, and there's not that many like basic abilities that you could chuck onto an artifact that would be like a kind of freebie to get with another card. But did you have any guesses as to what that might be?
Well, we discussed, what was it, Loss of Life?
Yeah, that could be one. Like lose 2, lose 3, something like that for some amount of mana.
I mentioned discard, but then you would be able to do that instant speed unless they added like the claws onto it.
Yeah, I feel like discard they probably wouldn't do because it's so dead late in the game that it just wouldn't really be. I think it would make it significantly less fun to play with than the other mechanics.
Yeah, there could be make like a 1/1 or something, like a human, 1/1 human or something, because all three of the ones that exist currently are quite independent. Like you got mana, card draw, and life gain. They're all very different.
Yeah, so, and kind of basic resources of the game, and creature is kind of like a...
Creature is one that sticks out to me, but I'm not sure what else is very different that you could tack onto one.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you? Do you have any guesses?
maybe one that does nothing, but has synergies, like more powerful synergies if you control one.
Did you say one with nothing?
Yeah, there we go. 0 mana, you may discard your hand. No, I'm thinking like Darksteel Relic.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. It's just indestructible. That's what it is. It's just a Darksteel Relic.
Like, that could be kind of interesting because again, that has flavor implications, and you can do some synergy stuff with that.
Well, it doesn't really have like flavor in Innistrad.
I guess so. I guess so.
You can't
There's no Darksteel
Innistrad.
stuff in Innistrad.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be interesting to see, though. Other than that, there's not too much else. There's not too much else from that.
Just some characters returning.
Oh,
faction mechanic.
You were hoping for a love triangle between Olivia and 2 others.
Yeah. Well, that's apparently so. Crimson Vow. I think from what I've heard, Olivia's character is getting married, and I think that's the whole thing of the set. But I actually haven't read enough into it to know who she's getting married to. So I think it'd be pretty funny if it was like Grizzlebrand and like I don't know, so some other random. Just make a meme out of it.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Soren is probably the most common answer.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm not too much into the lore, so I don't really
Yeah,
care.
I've been a little bit beside of it since they tried to make the lore all a paid resource. When it was free, I used to read it, and then I think they've made it free again since then. But they've already pushed me away. It's too late.
Nah. Wizards does like pushing away people.
I don't know. I might read it again at some point because it was getting pretty good towards the end of it. But yeah.
I
think that's pretty much there. But there's a whole list. So if you want to see some of the teasers that Maro put out, he's on Tumblr, and there's probably a post on Twitter somewhere that has the same information. But
we'll put the
put a link.
Put a link in the description.
There we go. Yeah, moving on from there. Man, we actually have a lot of content today. But there is still a couple of things that we want to cover. Ooh, looking like the time. Oh, we got time.
We got time. It's fine.
Okay, well, there's something I think we missed last week, which was the mechanical color pie article.
What was this last week?
I think it was actually out last week, yeah, and I hadn't heard about it at that point, so I didn't really realize that was a thing.
Oh yeah, 18th of October. Yeah.
But pretty much just a big article discussing the changes to Magic's color pie. There was a similar article published in 2017, and this highlights the differences between the color pie then and the color pie now, with some amount of sort of this is what we're seeking to do from here on kind of leaking through. And a lot of it kind of makes sense when you read it. You're like, oh yeah, that's something that I have noticed actually now that I think about it. But I thought it was interesting to raise a couple of the points that were put in there because some of them I hadn't really realized that was a thing until it was mentioned. So I guess I might just Yeah,
there is a lot of interesting things that I kind of brushed over the article. I was like, nah, this isn't going to affect me that much. But reading into it, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it was actually. Should I just go through a couple of the points that stood out to me?
Yeah.
While I was reading it.
Yeah.
So there was I guess just a couple of small things. Some of them are more sort of drafts, and some of them more constructed sort of focused. One of the more sort of limited focused ones were that blocking multiple creatures isn't a thing anymore, which I hadn't actually noticed until it was brought up. But I do remember when there was like a 100-handed one and
yes,
several other cards that let you block a whole bunch of creatures. And now that they mentioned it, I haven't seen that effect in a while.
Yeah, that mechanic is not really that... Well, it's not very interesting. And I don't think it adds anything to gameplay.
Right.
I feel like people just get got by it more often. Like,
right, people forget it's a thing. And
people just forget, yeah. Like, obviously that's a thing that you need to read the card, but
True.
it can cause for, I guess, kind of frustration. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I haven't actually played with it in a limited format. I've got to admit, I've played with it in some jank commander decks and stuff. But it's just interesting because it's a mechanic that was pretty different to some of the other stuff that we have in cards. So, but yeah, I guess I'm not too fussed about them removing.
Yeah.
There's the fact that having to attack apparently didn't play quite as well as can't block. So going forward, we're not really having any creatures that have to attack, and we're getting more that are sort of encouraged to attack, but don't have to slam themselves into your opponent's untapped blockers. That's nice.
That's funny, actually, because they just printed Dragon's Rage Channeler, which must attack.
Oh yeah, which does that. That's true.
When it has Delirium, yeah.
I guess this is kind of like in general, but that's a good point, actually. I hadn't really noticed that exception.
Yeah, I think this is a good change, though.
Yeah.
Because just ramming your creatures into big blockers is not very fun.
Oh yeah.
So this at least gives you an option. Like,
I think it's gonna be great for limited. Just makes the gameplay a little bit better.
Totally, yeah.
Now some of the juicier topics. There's things like card draw. They had a whole section on that, and one of the biggest things coming out of that was so for most of the colors they're staying mostly the same. Classic restrictions like blank having to lose life to draw cards, that sort of thing. But apparently they're tuning up white a little bit in terms of card draw and tuning down green slightly, is what they were saying, or aiming to anyway. And the restriction that they've sort of given to white is that white's now allowed to draw some cards, but it can only draw them kind of as a once per turn roughly kind of thing. Which is interesting. What do you think of that?
Yeah, the most recent incarnation of this, what is it the right word? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is Search Party Captain?
Yes, yeah, that's the thing that came to mind as well.
Yeah, which I think really plays well. Like I think that is good because it does give aggressive decks a bit more late game power.
Yeah, and I'm glad to overall be seeing or know that I'll be seeing white having more card draw in the future, because that's kind of been a sticking point in the past that there really were not many options, and I think it'll be nice to be able to throw in some card advantage in there.
Yeah.
I think that they're hoping to not push it too much still, as they sort of said. But one thing I did find interesting as well is they said that white is expected to have the best small creatures that cantrip. So like you were saying, Search Party Captain, and I think there was the priest that gains one life from Strixhaven, maybe?
Priest that gains one life.
Yeah, 3 mana, it's a 2/1.
Gains
you one life,
gains life, draws a card. Yeah.
Yeah. Which are examples of just like those small creatures that draw cards, which I think are going to play really nicely in limited. I've always enjoyed those kind of cards.
Ambitious Farmhand as well.
True. That one's green, but it kind of does the... I guess that's what they said in the article is.
It's white.
Wait, is it?
Yes. It's the two.
I was thinking of the other... What's the one I think of? The mill 3 cards get a card back. Yeah,
eccentric Farmhand.
Ah, that's pretty close, come on.
Yeah. I don't know if it actually is Farmhand, the white one, but...
It's Farm something, right?
It's Farm something, yeah.
Farmer. I think Eccentric Farmer, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Pretty sure.
It is. That's the green one. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah.
Ambitious Farmhand gets a land, is it?
Yeah, it gets a land. It gets a plains.
Yeah, which they said they're going to be doing more of as well, like getting a plains in general. They're focusing a little bit on that aspect of things.
Yeah, I do like that.
Which plays quite nicely, so that's cool. So I did see, or I heard some people freaking out a little bit about the fact that like all the other colors get to draw cards kind of like semi-unconditionally, like black loses life, oh no, that's so easy, and then like green has to be tied to creatures, which it's doing anyway. While white only gets to draw one a turn, but I really don't think it's actually that big of a deal, because in most decks you're probably only going to be like cantripping off some of the cards. Obviously blue is still supposed to be the best card draw color, and they're going to be playing like proper draw spells that are card advantage positive. But I think the restriction on white is actually not as big as people were making out to be.
Do you think they would ever print a white Phyrexian Arena?
I think they could maybe, but it would have to be like a very white flavored card. So it'd have to do something like you get a plains at the start of your turn if your opponent has more lands than you, or like that sort of thing. I don't think they'd like straight up print one.
Not at 3 mana. Well, there's that 4 mana one that's quite expensive now. That was in Guilds of Ravnica?
What was that?
Or Ravnica Allegiance? What's it called? It's like Ristic Study. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you can make a clue.
Oh yeah, that was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called.
Was it a clue or was it a treasure? There was a treasure one. Was there a clue one as well?
There's a clue.
Okay.
Was it a clue?
I actually can't remember.
You have one in your commander deck.
No, that one makes a treasure, right?
Is it a treasure? Oh, it is
Yeah,
a treasure.
it's a treasure one.
Oh, yeah, okay, never mind.
It's called something to do with wealth. Okay, that was a pretty bad guess. Yeah, nice. But yeah, I know the one you're talking about. 4 mana, 1 white pip. Yeah, when you get treasures when your opponents draw. Which was pretty sweet. That was a cool card.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking of, but no, that does not draw cards. I thought that one was the one that makes clues, but apparently not.
Yeah, I can't quite remember all the cards, but I guess we might get one now going forward.
Maybe.
Other stuff that stood out to me was the removal section. In the past, they really had black as the removal color, with other stuff being a lot less powerful in that realm. And they've made a couple of changes here. One being that white is now the second best removal color, or is sort of expected to be in terms of just straight up killing creatures. And we've seen that already with things like Fateful Absence being printed, and
Portable Hole,
Prismatic Ending, Solitude. Actually, we've seen that a lot now.
Yeah, Solitude, already. Portable Hole.
Yeah,
Brutal Cathar.
So they're pushing this pretty hard.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So I guess watch the space. I guess I kind of hope they tone it down after all of those, but yeah, changing the balance of removal. There's one nice thing, especially for draft, I think, and for limited formats, is that stuff that destroys creatures with power 4 or greater is now going to be destroying creatures with power 3 or greater more often.
That's a great change.
Yeah, I think so, because that was kind of clunky before.
4 mana is like, it's borderline playable. Like, in some formats like Ixalan, it was playable because there's like so many big creatures. But in general, power 4, there's not that many massive creatures.
Yeah, and they're beating you down with like a 3/4, and you're like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's gonna be really nice. And still keeps to the whole like strong versus the weak kind of theme of white, I guess. And then in blue, we have no more Pongify effects. So no more things that destroy an opponent's creature and gives them a token in exchange that's another creature. So like, I think the latest version of that effect was not Raven's Crime. It was something to do with the Raven blue mana. It destroys the
Foretell thing.
Yeah, the Foretell thing.
Exile...
That didn't kill a creature though. Did it? It killed it exiled an artifact?
No, exiles a creature and they get a 1/1.
Exiles a creature.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. So we're not getting any more of those. And same for Pongify. There was one other Pongify-ish card that I can't remember the name of now, at least. But yeah, apparently blue can still have things that turn creatures into other creatures, like as an enchantment, as long as the enchantment can still be removed. But they're not getting straight up just like destroy a creature. You get something else.
Yeah, Pongify effects are kind of weird. I don't know. I don't really like them. They're either really good or just unplayable.
Yeah, and so I think it's not a bad change as well.
Would Beast Within count into that?
Nah, because Beast Within was green.
And this is just blue.
Anything about that? This is just for blue specifically.
Right.
Because they were sick of blue being too good at everything.
Yep.
Then I guess only other thing is, well, I had a note here that is white going to be the new green, because I just saw a lot of sections that were talking about white getting slightly buffed. It felt like not majorly, but especially I guess in limited and in some other sort of situations. So there were things like pump spells in white are expected to be a little bit better going forward. White is now going to have Planeswalker synergies as sort of one of the themes that it's got access to, including, and it says Tutor's Reanimation, which we've seen a couple of in the past few sets. Legendary synergies. White's allowed to reanimate any permanent type. So it's now like apparently the reanimation color, which is interesting.
Interesting.
In terms of just like straight up, I think black still is the reanimation color for creatures specifically, but yeah, white's allowed to bring back whatever. It's allowed to return cards to hand, which is quite getting to be quite a lot. Low mana value synergies, and I have here a note about Lurrus because yeah, watch that one because low mana value synergies have turned out to be pretty good so far.
Oh god, are they going to be pushing that? Because if so,
I hope not. I hope not.
If so, Lurrus is going to be a problem.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. No, I mean, it sounded like a lot of the stuff was pertaining to limited, so I'm not sure how much of this will bleed into the top end of like constructed playable cards. But
Lurrus can make anything good.
Yeah, yeah. Like, even burn.
Exactly.
And then yeah, protection being evergreen again, which I thought was quite interesting because they mentioned that it wasn't going to be a thing, right?
Yeah, a few years ago they said we're removing protection from Magic. There will be no more cards with protection on them.
So it was going to be too confusing to new players, right?
Yeah. And it's back, so...
Sweet.
Yep, well, it lasted long.
Yeah. I don't necessarily mind that, but again, they said, and mostly white, and I'm like, I know we've all been memeing on social media about the white being kind of a backseat color at this point, but this might be a bit too much.
Yeah, they really went all in on white in this article, didn't they?
Yeah. And again, like I don't know how much of this is like them wanting to just make like slight tweaks, so hopefully it sort of stays reasonable. But yeah, if I had to make a gamble, I'd imagine we're getting a white what did green get recently? It got Urborg.
Oh yeah,
we got a green Urborg.
I think a white one would be fine.
Yeah, there we go. So
red and blue ones, no. I don't think blue. Well, red there's Velicut, which would be a problem.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Yeah, blue Murpho.
Blue is just powerful and doesn't need more cards. So
just stop printing blue cards.
Yeah, stop it, please.
And then yeah, just a couple of other small notes. Black allowed to kill enchantments going forward, which means that the was it Feed the Swarm is the card
yeah,
that's
Feed the Swarm.
It's not just a one-off thing, but we might be seeing more of that sort of thing in the future. Blue is going to be a color that has vigilance, and especially probably in limited formats, which is interesting because so far we've had it as mostly like a green and white thing, right?
Yes.
So I guess that might make blue decks play slightly differently.
Well, if vigilance is in limited, it's in constructed too.
True, but how many cards have vigilance in modern that you can think of that actually play?
I don't know. I'm just messing with you.
You're not wrong. Vigilance, tribal, and modern win.
Yeah.
There's a couple of payoffs for it.
Yeah.
And what is evergreen?
Which is really good. I do like that, moving away from hexproof, and... Well, they moved away from Shroud ages ago and replaced it with hexproof. Now they're replacing it with
and getting
Ward.
rid of things like protection weight.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking as well. Yeah.
But overall, I agree with you, though, yeah.
What is that next step from hexproof? And I feel like that is a good step.
Yeah, and very tweakable, so it gives a lot of design space.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
That about wraps up that.
Yeah. I'm feeling pretty good about sort of what we've covered so far. I guess the one other note that we had was, talking about the Red Bull Untapped event that's coming up. So I guess, do we want to just have a quick fire, what are you playing this coming weekend?
Yeah, we can cover this.
Yeah.
I'm basically 100% to run back mono white.
Oh.
But with some changes.
Oh,
Some small changes, yeah.
What are the big ones?
I got rid of one paladin class Because drawing multiples can be kind of awkward.
True, that makes sense actually.
Replaced it with, I can't even remember. Oh, I can't remember.
Just another creature?
Yeah, it would be another creature. I can't even remember what was in my list now. I made changes to it today, and I can't remember.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's all good.
But still going with the second spell theme, with Monk of the Open Hand and Clarion Spirit.
Instead of the exile based.
Yeah, instead of the exile based, because I was playing the second spell package in the last event, and it just seems more powerful than
I kind of agree, especially the Clarion Spirit. Oh, that's one hell of a card.
Man, Clarion Spirit is so good against the green decks.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And it's just good against spot removal as well.
For sure, yeah, actually.
So I feel like it's probably the most underrated. Well, maybe not the most underrated, but it's one of the underrated cards in white, I think.
I kind of agree, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I put a Fateful Absence in the main deck.
Ooh,
just for mono green.
Yeah. And can technically hit a dragon with it.
yeah. Smoldering Egg.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I actually I've been delaying picking a deck. Hey, I've been messing around with decks. I haven't really found one that I'm like super settled on. But the things I've been messing around with are still the mono blue tempo list from last time. I have made some tweaks to it, so I'm thinking that's a good fallback if I can't think of anything else. And I'll just need to make sure to have a sideboard that's slanted towards not losing to mono white as hard as I did last time. Other than that, I have been kind of enjoying playing a burn list. It was just blue-red burn. With some of your boy Delver of Secrets and things like what's it called again?
Thermo Alchemist.
Magic Missile, yeah, Thermo Alchemist, that sort of thing, which has been pretty fun. And I did like the Dragon Turtle list you sent last week. That was a Dimir control list. So I'm sort of bouncing around between a few different options.
You want to play control for like 7 hours?
I kind of did it last time. Like the tempo list was kind of a control list.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It was alright. I quite enjoyed it actually, honestly. But yeah, I kind of agree that it might be in the interest of my sanity to go for something a little bit faster.
Yeah, maybe.
So we'll see. And then worst case, maybe I can put together some mono white. But I'm a little bit low on the wild cards, so I'm gonna have to last minute grind them.
Yeah, I don't think the meta will be that much different. Like there's those three decks. It's the rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
Basically, but I feel like white has an edge over the other two decks.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm expecting after the performance last week to see quite a lot of it again.
Yeah. I think people will be gunning for mono white a lot more though. So I'm not too sure. Might see more board wipes. But the deck, you can easily play around board wipes with the deck.
Right. Just don't overextend.
It's really easy to not overextend with the deck and win easily. Like you can still easily win when you don't overextend. Because you
How do you do that?
Huh?
While still playing, how do you do that while still playing 2 cards a turn?
Well, it depends. It depends on the matchup, obviously.
Yeah.
But against Luminarch Ascension, Luminarch Aspirant, can get around board wipes pretty easily. There's a lot of 2 toughness creatures, and putting a counter on those can get around Syndiclasm.
That's true, actually.
Which is really good. Faithless Haven gets around Syndiclasm.
Yeah, that's just a good card in general, yeah.
Usher of the Fallen is good against board wipes as well. So you can... Also, holding these cards back, or these double spell cards back, is fine. If you can beat down with the creatures that you have in play, then they board wipe you, then you can play your creatures.
And with Clarion Spirit, you kind of go off. If you play Clarion Spirit first and another creature, you got like 3 creatures or deal.
Exactly. So it does work well. You can gain acceleration from you can gain like tempo from these double spell cards.
Yeah. That actually makes sense. It doesn't sound as bad as I was thinking.
Yeah. You get board wiped, you can immediately gain back a board, even if you have 3 lands.
That's scary. Of note, if I'm playing board wipes.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. But yeah, we're pretty hyped. We're really looking forward to the next event, and yeah, see how that goes.
Ah, and it's actually at a good time.
Yes, yes.
2 p.m.
2 p.m.
2 p.m., not 9 p.m.
I think Bohan is gonna be playing a similar list to last time, and he was saying he might go hard on the Strixhaven stadiums again. So that'll be cool to see.
I've tried. I tried to stop him. I tried.
We'll have him back on when he finishes there probably, and he can tell us how that went.
Yeah, because he played in the event last weekend, but he had an unfortunate run. He was 2-0, then lost 3 in a row, and dropped. But
it
hopefully
sounds like he's been practicing pretty hard with the deck. So
no, he's been grinding with it. He's been grinding.
Yeah, for sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how he goes this weekend.
Sweet, sweet. Well, I think that pretty much does it for me. Did you have anything else that you wanted to close out with?
No.
Sweet.
Everything's been said.
Nice. In that case, thanks for joining us, and all the best. Have a good one.
Talk to you guys next time.
Bye.